think it is really important. I think as society, I feel like as people become more busier, people want to get their kids involved in all kinds of sports. They want to keep them busy, busy, busy. I think communication is super important, but I feel like people don't really listen to understand. They just listen to hear. I feel like it's with texting nowadays and other forms of communication, social media. I feel like there's been a like even written form of communication has kind of taken it's not been so formalized, or it's kind of taken a dive a little bit, because that kind of leaks into your emails and into your workplace a little bit.
Yeah, definitely to me, definitely to society. I don't think we would be anywhere without communicating. It would be hard, even if you can't speak or you can't hear or you have a language barrier with someone. There's still some form of communication, whether it's like through body language or, I don't know, just through your expression.
I think nowadays, especially in the U.S., if there's any kind of difference in you, people look at you as different, and you're kind of ostracized. It's unfortunate because America's made of a melting pot where people, we need, just because someone can't verbally communicate, or someone may have autism, doesn't mean that they're not smart or they're not gonna help the society in some other way.
I think most people try to accommodate. I think most people try to be polite and try to be patient. Mm-hmm. And then, I think there's always those bad apples that, don't have any time for it.
Yeah.
But I think most people try, and they're polite. I find that lots of the time, or not lots of the time, every so often there's somebody that just immediately likes Jamie, like at the health club. There was this woman behind the desk that just thinks of him as her friend. Mm-hmm. And there's people that just magnetize to him. But for the most part, people are somewhat indifferent, and they don't usually have to try to help him because I'm right there.
Yeah.
Or his dad is right there.
Yeah.
A friend who is a speech pathologist told me about one of her current clients, a major national consulting firm, contacted my friend and asked if she could work with one of their employees on language improvement. Apparently the employee was absolutely brilliant in computer technology, but problems arose each time she was sent out on a job. The hiring company invariably called the consulting firm and requested they send someone more knowledgeable, even after the consulting firm assured the company representatives that this woman was absolutely the best in the country for what they wanted. They still balked. The consultant in question is an African-American woman whose speech patterns reflect her southern rural roots. None of the companies that hired her could move past her language to appreciate her expertise, and I believe this represents an example of this pretty well, because she was an expert in her field and she could get the job done, even though the company didn't want her, only because of her speech and how she talked and her communication skills and things like that. And so I think that for individuals like immigrants and foreigners within our society, and not only that as well, but people with autism or language barrier disorders or something like that, it can be very devastating for them within our community, because they are already starting out with disadvantages, and our society can be pretty harsh on physical attributes of individuals that show weaknesses. And communication is such a complex, powerful, and highly used structure within our society. Every single day, people use communication to converse with each other and express what they need and what they want and from each other. And it's so underestimated within our society from these people. And I don't think that we realize the importance of it, because there's so many different aspects of it that we don't even think about, like our environment, our tone of voice, our body language, speech, word choice, dialect, accent, behavior, facial expressions, all these different things that go into communication and conversing with each other, we don't even think about until there's some kind of barrier that stops us from being able to converse with each other. That's the only time that I feel like we actually do think about it and we're stopped by it. Is when we actually have problems with ourselves communicating with each other. There's also role of personality that goes into it, because if you're a loud person, you need to be aware of this, that if you come off to other people as loud, and you may come off angry if you're being loud, so you need to be responsible of that in yourself. There's also internal versus external communication, and especially with all the technology that we have nowadays, there's so many different modes of communication, through texting, through computers, through speech, through writing, through all of these different things. And I mean, communication is so important within our society, and I think that it's very underestimated.